Hi everyone, thanks for having me. Like Caroline said, I'm Charlotte Edwards. I'm co-chair of the Family Advisory Council. I'm a nurse, but most importantly, I'm a mother. My grandmother used to tell me to enjoy the little things, every minute, every day, and have a positive attitude because some days your day may turn upside down. On February 17th, 2007, it was a beautiful day, sunny, cool, with blue skies. I just entered my third trimester of my first pregnancy, and I was going shopping for maternity clothes. I was so excited that I was getting big enough to fit in them. Later that evening, my husband and I were going to meet my parents for dinner to celebrate my mom's birthday. At dinner, I started to have this uncomfortable pain in my abdomen. I assumed it was heartburn because doesn't everybody get heartburn when they're pregnant? My friends were eating Tums like it was candy. The pain didn't subside, and I was in tears before dinner even arrived. My husband and I called my doctor and went to the ER at St. Francis, thinking, we'll just get this checked out, just in case. Well, it wasn't heartburn, and we were in shock to learn that I would be having an emergency C-section. My son was born 2 hours later at 25 weeks gestation, weighing 1 pound, 11 ounces. I had HELLP syndrome. While in the recovery room, the doctors were going to bring my son to see me before they transported him to the NICU at MUSC. I was telling my husband that I couldn't see him, that I was really cold. I lifted up my arm and there was blood everywhere. I was bleeding out and going into DIC. The doctors and nurses placed sandbags on me to try to stop the bleeding. Days later, I awoke restrained with a ventilator tube down my throat. I did not realize days had gone by, that I'd missed my 30th birthday, but most importantly, that now I was a mother. My courageous husband had been going from the ICU at St. Francis to the NICU at MUSC, not knowing if either one of us were gonna survive. My son didn't have a name for days. My husband waited till I'd woken up. We never decided on one because we thought we had time. I was able to recover pretty quickly so I could get discharged and see my son for the first time. It had been 8 days, and I was able to see this precious child through his isolette portholes. I had no idea the journey that was about to begin, but side by side, we were in this together. This is the 8th floor hallway of the Children's Hospital. It's the longest hallway of my life. It's 110 steps. I'd walk this hallway day after day. Some days it seemed longer than others. With every step I would take closer to those double doors, I would wonder, what would greet me today? Would today be a milestone, a setback, or would it be smooth and steady? Each step created more anxiety and fear of the unknown. I was tired, emotionally drained, devastated, but also knew that I was to be here for my son, to be his advocate, to learn the diagnosis, the lab values, the medications, the vent settings, to read to him and to hold him. My adrenaline kicks in and I hear the loud click of the double doors. And here I arrive at my new normal, the place I would be for 118 days. My husband had heard the statistics long before I had, and we knew we had quite the fight to keep Legree alive and doing well. We had a 25-weeker. The chance of survival and for a child to survive and thrive was 1 in 5. 20% of these babies will go on to live healthy, normal lives without major difficulties. Our son was critically ill. He might not survive. If we did not hear this once, we heard it every day when we arrived to the unit by the same doctor, whom my husband named Dr. Doom. To my amazement, my husband got up one day and walked away as the doctor was speaking to us and delivering us the same message over again. Your son is critically ill and may die. Only 1 in 5 survive without difficulties. I realize no parent ever wants to hear a negative prognosis about their child, and it's quite hard to hear. But at the same time, if you've told me the prognosis and I do not have to hear it day after day after day with no new information. The odds were against us. Okay, we got that. But please, tell me the plan for the day. Teach me about the diagnosis. explain the lab values, explain the test, explain the procedures. One day we were walking down the 8th floor hallway and we saw this particular doctor, and we decided to pop into the waiting area so we could pass him and not have to speak to him. No parent should have to walk away from a Dr. Doom. I realize this is a wonderful hospital and there are lots of miracles, but also some very dark days. Communication and knowing your audience and reaching them at their level can help families cope, but also learn about their current situation. Finally, after a month, I was able to hold Legree for the first time. I was so excited and nervous at the same time. Just the transfer of him from the isolette with all the monitor leads and wires, tubes from the ventilators, and IVs were enough to scare anyone. As soon as they laid his tiny body on my chest, I was in heaven. This precious child was mine. He was my fighter. I laid back in the recliner, closed my eyes, and for the very first time, I felt like a normal mother. I tuned out all the dings from the monitors, the beeps from the IVs, the whooshing sounds of the ventilator. I was able to hold him for hours, and this would become our routine. I would hold him every day that he was stable. Skin-to-skin care is a wonderful for premature infants for numerous reasons, but it's also an amazing experience for a parent to bond, to hold, to feel like a mom, and to be able to snuggle with your newborn. Legree was on multiple ventilators for 75 days and had numerous transfusions. He had 2 rounds of pneumonia, was septic, and had a UTI. Infection almost took his life. He was a fighter, and day after day, he rose to the occasion. And after 118 days, we were able to take him home. I'm forever grateful to the Children's Hospital. Legree is that 1 in 5, the 20% chance of surviving and thriving. He's 7 years old and started 2nd grade. He plays on a soccer team. You would never know that he was a premature baby. After our experience, I went back to nursing school. I now am a nurse in the same neonatal nurseries that took such great care of my son. When I do walk down that 8th floor hallway from task to task, I remind myself that the person that I'm walking by, that could also be the longest hallway of their life. Thank you.